it's created this monetary flow of energy that literally teaches the bot to act degenerate if it needs to. It'll literally go trade the stupidest things just because it needs to act as if it's really flowing through an economic flow of energy, which is why the Atropa dev is also coming out with his layer 2, because he thinks that the prices are going to pump so high that it's probably going to need its own layer 2 at that point. Even with the Deacon upgrade, that there might already be a reason for a layer 2.
What do you
But
say
what,
that
what
again
so
about what layer
yeah,
two is gonna pump so hard?
yeah, yeah. Well, not going to pump so hard, but he's well, it's going to pump hard. The guy that created Atropa is also going to be launching his own layer 2, and it's going to be a decentralized video game called, it's kind of like Dysomnia, which is like World of Warcraft on steroids. And what it's going to do, it's going to start creating a way for blockchain to decentralize. It's going to create the real world to start decentralizing the blockchain through DAOs and through money markets inside the video game, right? And then also the things that you saw Richard post about the NFTs. And what also the dev was doing was, you can literally take a wallet address and plug it into a YouTube video, and you can literally start monetizing your YouTubes and literally finding videos and stuff literally based off your OX address, 0x address itself. So that's another real world aspect that he had thought of as a marketing tool. Like when we were first finding out about the Atropa dev, we were going in and we were finding out things like, you plug this thing in and the K-pop song would pop up. And we're like, what the fuck is this? And all of a sudden the song was Teddy Bear. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, he launches a token called Teddy Bear. And we're like, what is going on? So it's a type of technology that, they're going to be introducing, I believe, to where it's, they're decentralizing certain aspects of real world without even people recognizing that they're working in a decentralized manner, right? And then that's kind of like what I always thought DeFi would do, would be able to kind of not sneak behind the scenes, but literally you'll be working behind, like be using blockchain technology without even recognizing that you're using it, especially for a video game like Dysomnia, or if like World of Warcraft had it, right? Like that's where I first got into Bitcoin and stuff, but it never used it in a decentralized manner. Bitcoin wasn't quite around at the time yet. It was still being developed, and but I mean, it came around eventually. That's why I even got into it. I got into Bitcoin early, thumb of the bag, but yeah, I feel like that's kind of his vision. James is he's a great dude. He's a little off the wall, but I think he's playing a multi-character type thing. I think that's his role, is for him to be a little bit chaotic, a little bit psychotic, because I believe it's more than just him behind the scenes helping out as far as Maker and other people are concerned. I think it's just a little bit more hands and a little bit more feet involved, just because of the scale of and complexity of everything. I believe what he built is a decentralized MakerDAO. He figured out a way to build a decentralized MakerDAO that protects DAI, that does not need vaulting, because the way that it works, because the way that it routes money. It's a monetary system that routes money in a certain way that decentralizes the actual ecosystem and protects DAI as well. Did you get that tweet up?
Gotcha.
Yeah, man. I just
Are you
want.
talking?
The
Yeah.
likelihood of Richard being there on October 24th is low to zero. There's a
Okay.
whole lot of info, so unless he's called to testify, he probably won't show up. Like
Nice.
I think he has to
Yeah, I
be
wasn't sure.
called, but they want I guess like it was really unusual for these types of motions for anybody to show up in a court like that. They have little public
Oh,
interest.
okay.
So the fact that there were so many people there just for this last hearing showed tremendous support for Richard. So that's why like the community is calling for like as many
But I'm saying,
people as
but yeah, so
possible.
that's what I'm saying. So like, what if the chain is pumping and everyone's making money, he shows up. I bet you anything. If we're pegged, we're paired, he shows up, no doubt. Bear with me. I'm walking back over to my unit, guys. I got to back up with work. But yeah, man. Hey, if you have any more questions or anything like that, man, feel free to DM me and just tag me in the chat. You can always DM me, buddy.
Dude, I appreciate all the talking. I recorded it. I recorded the session as well. I'll DM it to you as well, if maybe you can use it as well.
Yeah, I got a guy here that's always recording as well. I knew you were recording. I know you things you were touching on. So,
Yeah,
but, you
man.
know,
So I'm gonna go.
I'm just a geologist that doesn't know exactly what I'm talking about. So, I stated that a couple times. So, all good.
No, it's all good. It's like it's pointing me in the right direction, kind of giving me a better understanding of where things are coming from, where the ideas are coming from, and where, we're hoping to get to. It's like
Yeah, 100%. Well,
it's good to talk like this.
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, man. We had a guy come in the other night that was completely skeptical about things, and he came in shouting and hollering, and you know what? We got him to calm down. Everyone kind of calmed down. Everyone's kind of chill about it, and then he still thought that there's no way it's going to peg. There's no way it's going to happen. You can't just make money come out of thin air, and it's not, like I said, it's not necessarily Richard. We don't know. I say him, right? But I mean, it's it's not necessarily connected to his wallets. It's just the way the bots and stuff, the bots themselves and stuff like that are connected seemingly, but your big scientists.
I mean, the only way for PDAI to actually peg is if the MakerDAO protocol is used and he's able to collateralize it and lock it up at that price, right? There's no other way to peg it, right?
Yeah.
Wrong.
Right. Okay, go ahead, Sponge. Maybe I wasn't there. I didn't hear it very well. Go ahead.
So technically, pegging is a whole consensus that keeps it at $1. So as long as it stays at $1, with relative growth in terms of depth with the liquidity, then it doesn't actually need the MakerDAO. It won't actually require the MakerDAO vaults to keep it.
Oh, exactly.
To keep it a peg.
Not at all.
It's gonna require a bunch of ratios. So right now, if you do the math with 201 times 201, there's an instance, or other words, opportunity of around times 201, 40,000 pairs of liquidity that could be paired to each other. So 40,000 different pairs that will offer arbitrary opportunities to each other. So.
I mean, but
pegging.
No, I understand what you mean in terms of bringing it to that, but pegging means that it stays at that price. Like,
yeah. So what's going to happen is it's gonna take it to $1, but over like a year and a half, it's going to be very volatile. It's going to probably range from like 65 cents to like $1.40, and it's going to keep trying to find its relative dollar range
until that next token launches, where Maker has a token that literally fluctuates 75 to 25 cents, and then that will be also helping it once that.
But the truth is the whole system doesn't require the secret formula. The secret formula is already working, and it just takes up to 2 years for it to actually fully peg.
And you're talking about liquidity building. You're talking about liquidity building to get to those levels with those pairs around, to have stability.
The way the system works is when it builds the liquidity, it also unlocks it. So it's kind of like a video game. It's really weird, but since the largest pairs are Atropa and DAI, everything pushes up the DAI value, and then the DAI value is able to burn and push up the Atropa value. But once it reaches $1, the DAI value will start building a value proposition for the Atropa side, and then that's when it's able to start supporting a peg.
Well, then PDAI will stay the same and Atropa will moon.
Yes, exactly. Now you're starting to understand it. And then randomly it'll start having fluctuative times where it'll go to like 60 cents or like $1.25. But overall, Atropa's main goal with the other 200 contracts is to keep it as dollar stable as possible. But it's doing it through nature and without a collateral reserve. So expect the unexpected.
Yeah, but this is all great and speculative, but that's fun, but that's not a stable coin.
It's not, but at the same time, it's the market's going to figure out what it wants to price it for. So, Rick, tell them what happened with OnlyGifts when you did all the random pairs with the different prices, and they all found the same parity.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Correct. That didn't matter what I did. I set all the ratios the same. One was $84, one was $3, one was 0.006, one was 0.00001, and 3 days later I came back and all of them were the exact same price across all the pairs.
There's an equalization system that tries to find arbitrage, and you know what? Sometimes it'll sacrifice value if it knows it's going to make money. If it thinks it's going to make money later, it's really weird. But it'll like stall on a trade and take like a maybe like a 6% loss, and then the next one it'll take like a 20% gain.
But and we still don't know exactly what Atropa is going to do. The Atropa might be what helps it keep it peg, help it keep it around that peg. It's never going to peg at $1 ever because no stablecoin really ever does. But I mean,
no, but it's
going
to keep unlocking
cents,
more liquidity depth. So the whole idea is
right, and also the more swinging that it does, the more AMMs and the more bots that get the front run and make profit.
So when you think of a meme coin, you never want to extend further than 10% liquidity ratio because then it gets too difficult to start growing. But with the stable coins, you're gonna like the only thing you have is the liquidity pool. So eventually the liquidity pools will just keep growing and growing and growing and growing and growing.
And that will build it up, yeah.
Well, what's all the thing with MakerDAO protocol and the vault and all this if that's not necessary then?
So
what's the story?
So I'm pretty sure they're talking about the actual Spark DAO and the vaults being deposited with Richard Hart's with the sacrifice money. So the sacrifice money from the PulseChain and PulseX have been seen going into Spark Finance's vaults, and he's receiving a collateral of Spark DAI, or sorry, savings DAI, which is valued at $1.07.
I'm talking about within PulseChain. So right now we're saying that the wallets that have touched it, they turned it on and they've been collateralizing. So we know that they're in control of it. So somebody's in control of it. Somebody's playing with it, right? That's all on chain. So everybody can see that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I hadn't looked much into it. So Sponge would know, yeah.
Yeah, so if that is the case, then
it's just another method. It's another method, I believe, to help it.
Yeah, but that would be the smartest. I mean, that would be the smartest and least volatile way to do it then.
Probably.
But
yeah, it makes sense. No, I agree. I think, yeah, like you said, expect the unexpected. But and I think, yeah, I need to go back and read that.
Atropa go up forever. Atropa would literally go to $10,000.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of value is being sucked out of Atropa to go into a lot of impermanent loss is being. It's called sacrificial impermanent loss.
I think that he's filling up those vaults for the cross chain stuff. I mean, who knows? We just don't know.
It may not have, because remember, Richard wants to create an algorithmic. He doesn't want to make it collateralized. So it would be stupid to start collateralizing the vaults.
Well, he did. He did talk. He did talk about what if I took a stable coin and I made it to where I put so much collateral in it that it couldn't be pegged. I remember saying that before too. So
that it could not be pegged. Yeah.
Correct. If you put so much collateral in it. Or just it could be another method. I mean, just another fail safe as liquidity is being built up inside of the things.
Well, Richard does not have any liquid assets right now in the system that would allow him to peg the thing 1-to-1 with liquidity, because he cannot do it with Pulse.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I thought neither is PulseX. We saw that one whale throw a tantrum and dumped 1.2 million or 1.8 million.
Yeah.
He dropped the whole ecosystem by 20%. So this whole ecosystem's illiquid by design right now. So there's no pegging the stable coin with fucking Pulse. It's going to be through algorithms right now and ratios. And to a penny we march.
Hi ho.
In April.
Yeah, I'm gonna do some reading up on it. Yes, I'm gonna do some reading up on it, and then I can get back to you too. But yeah, let's go. Sponge, go ahead.
What's up?
Yeah, so Sponge, so give me your idea of how you see things being played out, like how it started, how it's going, and what you foresee, like, if you don't mind.
Yeah, just give me 2 seconds. I just need. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. So the whole way this system started out was a random address launching shitcoins and basically liquidity farming, and basically just trying to engage a hand from the community. All of a sudden, it starts interacting with the DAI stablecoin contract, starts buying up a lot of the stablecoins.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Even though the contract's still minting on the maker side. The second some mysterious transactions go through, the maker's contract disables the DAI minting. All of a sudden, the same contract that's been accumulating a bunch of DAI stablecoins starts creating a bunch of contracts. The same contract starts creating a bunch of pairs and liquidity pools, and these liquidity pools start growing pretty largely. And then you notice that the same stablecoin that your friends were joking about buying and being millionaires just went up like 4,000x in like 7 days. So all of a sudden, fast forward October, there's around 89 contracts on the market, and all of them are trading and buying each other. And people are speculatively creating theories because they have zero information. This is when the pinnacle of the theory starts. And you have a bunch of people that are, coming together and thinking this is the next system. And this is when I marked the whole theory that Richard wouldn't just leave this dangling for the community to be harmed by. So if it were truly harmful, he would have called it out. Just like he if he's willing to kill EHEX, he's willing to, call out something pretty bad that's, attracting people and misleading people. But nothing happened. And all of a sudden, the entire ecosystem collapsed. The ecosystem gave people an opportunity to buy it, maybe a 20x drop, maybe 10 to 20x drop on average across the board, and people refused. Fast forward to January, we hit all-time highs. And the market sentiment starts changing because people start coming to Pulse. And then people start leaving Pulse. But this whole system, people realize that regardless of the volume, it's still going up. And it's very weird because regardless of 10 million on the market or 15 on the market or 85 million like today, still going up the same trajectory. Makes zero sense if you think about it. But mathematically, if you understand how it works, it's all plugged in together. So it does make sense. And fast forward to relatively this time, Richard's finally tweeted. Richard's starting to confirm that he agrees with the value of the DAI stablecoin, regardless of his efforts behind it or not, which is exactly what this whole centralized movement's about. There you have DAI stablecoin on PulseChain.
A decentralized mechanic of it. And even more decentralized whenever MakerDAO launches their chain.
Gotcha. And what do you foresee it happening like from now until the future then, of what would be the ideal outcome of all of this playing out?
Slowly moves to $1 and natural depegs on both sides. So depegging to 10 cent to $1.10 or to 90 cents, or maybe even a bit more depth on both sides. Obviously look out for those.
I don't think it's ever going to peg. I don't think it's ever. Yeah, it's never going to peg. But yeah.
I think protocols will be coming out that'll allow people to swap 1-to-1 for their stables properly. So it's proper stable swaps. So
and maybe farms too. Maybe ink farms.
Yeah, the farms will lower the slippage and increase the depth in those pools.
And that might be the MakerDAO. Yeah. And that might be what MakerDAO is used for. The vaults for MakerDAO might be used for vaulting to help collateralize. Or to help pair and use as a farm.
The reason why liquidity is such a good name for the value of money that flows through a chart and stuff is because it is cash flow, liquidity, but also water is the strongest thing on this planet, just like Torrens tapped into before. You cannot beat water. So it's the real flow of money. Yeah, so all these pools are about it's all about just growing these pools and making them deeper. The deeper that they are, the wider they are, the more people can dive into them from a higher.
And the less they have to arbitrage the bots. Because if you went in and you dumped 400 million just into PulseX, that would literally get spread out across so many different pairs, and that would just be depleted within moments because you're throwing too much money into one pair. You make sure when you're doing it, you would have to literally collateralize them all at the exact same time, at the exact same amount of money for it to reach a consensus across the board, or equilibrium across the board. And that's what stability AI, the AI protocol that he's using, is built to do. As long as there's liquidity there, and as long as the bond and the nodes are running, 60% of the nodes are running this stability diffusion or stability AI stuff. That's what it's designed to do. It's like continuously. It breaks it down. It's like a thing of marbles. You drop them on the floor, and they spread evenly across the floor, no matter what you do. Throw them all over there. Throw them all over there. It doesn't matter. Eventually, they find their way back to an equilibrium of spreading the marbles out completely evenly across the floor. Yeah, it's gonna be wild.
One of the other things we're really seeing that's fascinating too with the Atropa system and is the way that not only the ratios that he's holding between pools, which also could become more automatic through the bots, but the way that he limits paths so that you have to use you have to buy certain tokens to get to other tokens, and then there's a lot more slippage that you'd have to eat to do that, to be able to negatively or even positively affect the price. So it's a building process that's going on. If you look at James in the 414, in depth, there's some calls that he's made that haven't quite worked out yet, and he's also had benevolent whales that have caught on, or not just caught on, but gotten very interested and very committed to his system, and are watching every one of his moves very closely, and even thinking that they're helping, and they but not quite understanding and making their own moves, and then he has to actually counteract them because it goes against his plan. So he's getting tighter and tighter with the community, doing these meetups and explaining more and more to people, but he's letting his plans out and his alpha out slowly.
That's why he wants us to build a system like his, because they know that it's going to take more systems like that for this to continue to work out. It's not just going to be his system. It's going to have to be a community effort for it to actually work. It's not going to just be one man doing one thing,
and ultimately
one community doing one thing.
It's not just about PDI either. It's all three of the main stables and PWBTC, and even more going forward, like even possibly all of them. So it's a tremendous undertaking, but there's it's incredible though. Like the guy's he's way above. And he's been at this for 30 years, crypto and cryptography and all of the theory behind it, and he's got a lot of money.
Are you talking about Maria?
Yeah, his name's actually James, but it's in his James Maria 414, all synonyms.
Gotcha. So what did I heard that James's plan is to sell Atropa to Richard or something like that, to hand it over? What was that? What? Was that just?
No. It was it? I never heard that.
I thought I heard that somewhere.
Either. Oh yeah, there is a wallet called Atropa Zandi, something like that. He said he won't sell it for anything less than $1 billion. So it have all these pairs and it have 30 bears, PDI, Atropa. So it's a collection of everything that is building. Yeah, so it's waiting for the value to go over $1 billion, and then he sell it.
Yeah, I heard something like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. So that then that could be interesting. It might be the community that does it, and we might have the value to do it. That would be dope. Everyone in the community steps in and buys it
with a DAO.
There is an L2 coming. We don't know anything about it yet, but
I know that. Yeah, that L2. Yeah, I did talk about that a little bit, but I don't know enough about it.
Nobody does. There's been no information.
Right.
I'm assuming it's going to use Atropa as gas, but we don't really know. If it did, that would be the effect that it would have on Pulse and on Atropa itself would be insane, to say the least.
I mean, worst case scenario. I mean, if you got your RAT BTC, just make sure you take some profits out of the. If it reaches that level, sneak some profits out just to make sure.
What levels?
Because I know
Parity levels.
I would say.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I would. But that's just.
Here is what James said, right, about the wallet. He said that is why the treasury bill is mintable, and Trabizon treasury wallet that controls the contract is potentially for sale, not for anything less than $1 billion. So the Trabizon treasury wallet controls the contract.
Is that?
Yeah.
I think that Atropa seems like it's the key.
Well,
to the system
James is really building like
exactly. It's accumulated so much of the circle of the supply, and then burnt so much of the supply and paired it with Atropa, so it can't go anywhere else.
The way I understand it, he's trying to replace basically every financial instrument from the traditional system.
Finance.
Like bonds.
Yeah, that's what me and someone else were talking about a couple months ago.
And monetary policy. Yeah. It's his own vision of monetary theory.
Yeah, and it's super advanced. I mean, the guy really knows what he's talking about. It's incredible.
I'm pretty sure.
He also said the idea is to just before that message, he said that the idea is to eventually meet the definition for insurable banking. Yeah, just before that message. So yeah.
To ensure one more time. What did you say?
He said just before that message, he said the idea is to eventually meet the definition for insurable banking. That is why the treasury bill is mintable, and Trabizon treasury wallet that controls the contract is potentially for sale. And then Kofi asked, what is the minimum price you'd accept? Maria said $1 billion. Yes.
There is a Maria. We found the actual Maria that he based it. She probably most likely is a part of this. So when we say Maria James, there is a Maria. Like, that's a fact.
Yeah.
Like, he's definitely not doing it alone. There's definitely a team.
Yeah, and he's actually working with a bunch of the community members now too. But
yeah, I think
and more going forward. He's gifted many wallets that he's seen whale wallets that have acted in benevolent ways. He's generated tokens and then given only those wallets abilities to mint specific tokens. And yeah, there's I think quite a few of them. It's hard to follow everything. It's there's
a graph in our chat of all of his tokens somewhere in there. Literally, it's like so many tokens.
And I got a list. It's at 201 right now.
There's a map too. See if I can find that map.
Their last one got launched last month, I believe. So they're still releasing tokens.
Yeah, he also said that some of the stuff was starting to get kind of speculative, and if it works out, he would keep going. And if it didn't work out, he was going to stop or something. Like he didn't know if it was completely done yet, or
Well, that and
so where's James from? Where did James come from? Like, is he like a hex guy, or is he just out of nowhere, just randomly saw like?
No, he definitely had hex. He definitely held hex. I know for a fact there was hex in that 414 wallet, but that's all.
I mean, nobody knows like where the dude's from. Like, all of a sudden, like this guy appears and is trying to do what he's doing and trying to
Well, no, we'll see. He did.
parody
I think they. He
P-Dye.
did. I think they met on testnet and like likely saw what I guess maybe saw what each other were doing. I'm not sure. I don't know the whole story about that. Maybe they've known each other. I don't know.
There's a really old video of him. I think it's from FOSDEM. From the, I think the mid '90s. But yeah, he's been a computer science guy for, going way back, and very high level. He's worked for NASA and what is it, IBM, and I don't know. I mean, his resume is
a lot of people think that it's him and him alone are the ones that are gonna be find the peg and find the pair.
His name is James Ellis Osborne the third. I think if you, I'll try and find the link.
Was it not?
Yeah,
Like Greece?
There is a video of Richard that 6 years ago saying that he have a co-founder scientist who's working at NASA, selling CFD, what, and they are those CFD, they are making companies $60 million, yeah, something like that. So who is a scientist and worked at NASA? It is James. So it's like 6 years ago,
when did Richard
knew each other?
6 years
when
ago.
When did Richard say this?
Yeah, I will send. Should I send a video, like a link to YouTube on this group?
Yeah. Link it to this room so we can watch that. That's awesome. If that's the case, man, this web is deep.
Yeah. No, dude, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. We believe,
Can you imagine like planning something like this for like 10 years in advance before even creating PulseChain? And
they have,
you know what I mean, like
Hex before Hex was around, because they knew what was happening, I believe, and that's there's a guy named Codex that said that he kind of traced things back to even before that, but I'm not sure. Well, he's in deep, and he has a lot of crazy theories. So
we don't actually know who built PulseChain. What if James was actually one of the people that helped build it? It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, of course, I would think so, because I mean they pegged it to $1. They did the same thing on the testnet, apparently, right?
Yeah, quickly, because we don't really know who built PulseChain.
P-Dye got pegged to $1 on testnet. I didn't know that. What's the story behind that?
Oh yeah, he launched the exact same type of ecosystem over there, but he didn't have to finish it because there was so much money flowing in and no money flowing out that he was able to peg really quickly. And I can tell you right now that they copied more than PulseChain more than once. They copied BSC more than once. They probably copied Bitcoin more than once. I'm sure that they've copied every single chain more than once, and they probably copied Bitcoin for all kinds of reasons, and for different testing, and just that's their passions, I'm sure.
I mean, if my Bitcoin goes to parity, then thank you, Jesus.
It is. It is. I believe it is. It might not stay there right away at first, but I believe it's going to go to parity, and it's going to eventually stay there. Yeah. It's.
I mean, I'd be so rich.
He literally, he shook out so many people. Oh, we're right there with you. Like, if some of these things, even if Atropa ends up